back to Lethbridge again with your garden chat, or apparently Kerry calls me a garden detective. I mentioned last week that I would talk about the garden of Daphne Perkins, who also came down from St. Martin's for our church lunch. Someone actually asked me when I was going to St. Martin's to look at Chris Hensley's garden, but although I'd seen it some years ago, I had no intention of crossing the water just to look at a garden. A chat about it would have to be enough at this time of the year. So although I may take a look at Daphne's garden next summer, I took her word for it that she was the proud owner of a protea with 9 blooms on it, and from the same family she has a leucadendron safari sunset. These both come from South Africa. Tresco is a lovely collection of proteas with their huge heavy flowers. We have also some at Crickdew. Frank Naylor, a previous Tresco gardener, once told me and Richard that proteas took 9 years to flower from seed. I didn't ask Daphne what shade hers was, but I do know that the ones at Tresco are much pinker than ours at Crickdew. I think one of ours is a creamy colour. I noticed that it has just finished flowering too. Daphne also has several purple aeoniums coming into flower. They have this big conical yellow flower which doesn't seem to match the purple succulent leaves, I think. I think it would much better if it was pink. But who am I to argue with nature? If Daphne's leucadendron is looking as good as mine, it will be really brightening up the garden. Mine is planted in a lucky place and just happens to catch the winter sun when it's out, and it really lights up. I almost caught up with someone from Briar at the Christmas market. Auntie Chris of the fudge fame was there with her stall, so I boned her, but she told me to talk to her sister Marion Bennett, because her garden was much better than hers. Her sister happened to be just behind me, but she was just off for an hospital appointment, but promised to talk to me at a later date, so that was the one that got away for the time being. A day or two ago I had a knock at the door, and it was Sandra Greenlaw and Gordon Abbott to tell me about their banana plant, with the remains of a flower surrounded by young bananas. They've had it for 7 years, and it has made a huge great plant, which is looking a bit sad at the moment because of the cold, but it recycles itself every year, and it sends out a lot of runners. It was given them by Angie Greenlaw, so they don't know what type it is. I went down to their house to photograph it, but they were out, so I could only see it over the fence. I don't suppose it's warm enough to ripen the bananas. Perhaps there's someone around who also has a banana plant and can tell Sandra and Gordon what is likely to happen. Barbara Phillips rang up to ask me if I could give her any advice about her hydrangea, which had turned yellow, I beg your pardon. I could only imagine that it had been frosted. But if anyone has other ideas, please tell Barbara. I was moaning last week about the weather and feeling that I didn't think I would want to do any gardening again, when the sun came out and the gardening urge came back, so I've been out attacking the brambles in the corner of my garden which hasn't seen me for years, and I'm now covered in scratches and feeling quite pleased with myself. Bye for now.